to the DFL Breakdown, presented by GrizLeeGear, with your hosts, Lucas Ford and Ricky Epperson.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the DFL Breakdown, the #1 cartoon side character themed, league-specific, weekly fantasy football podcast in the world. We're back. I'm here with my boy Ricky. How you doing, Ricky? I missed you last week, but I'm glad to have you back this week.
We're back. You didn't miss much. I just keep winning. I don't know. It's a good season, and it's good to be back.
Yeah, you're continuing that undefeated season where I'm sure you're having a blast, but there's a lot of stuff going on in the dome, and one thing that we definitely have to address, it's wedding week in the Dimmadome this week. We have not one but two of our managers tying the knot this weekend. So while some people may be at home watching the games, a lot of us will be out and at some weddings. So with that in mind, we thought we'd come up with a special wedding themed segment for this week's podcast and talk about the NFL wedding party, where we assign everybody some wedding themed roles and talk about how they would stack up here. So let's get right into that, and then we could go into the rest of the episode here. But let's start with the wedding party.
Wedding party.
Okay, so I gotta start here. This guy, Action Jackson, is going to be the groom. This guy has been just suiting up every week and doing his job and just being out there, being the #1, just overall everything in the league, and he deserves to be the main guy in the spotlight at this wedding. So Lamar Jackson is the groom of the sorcerers, of course, or I'm sorry, the Decepticons.
Yeah, we go by many hats. We're sorcerers at our roots, but yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson looking like the league MVP, back again another year to make stuff happen. His dark magician moniker does not go wasted on him. Him breaking that tackle and throwing a touchdown was crazy last week. I'm sure you've seen the highlights, but he brought a defender to his knees in awe. And that's exactly who you need your groom to be. That's the man of the hour.
There he is. Yeah, so Lamar Jackson as the groom for the NFL wedding of the weekend.
Yeah, and we kind of broke this up into AFC, NFC, so the groom side is going to be the AFC players, and over on the NFC side, the only person worthy of being the bride, in my opinion, is Saquon Barkley. That's because everyone wants Saquon right now. Everyone's like, dang, I wish I was married to Saquon this week. He's been everything that you'd expect him to be in an offense that functions better than the Giants. I'm sure you can speak to how good it feels to have Saquon on your team. I can't. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, no, I mean, even though the team as a whole hasn't really been benefiting a ton from it, Saquon himself has been doing amazing. It definitely, yeah. I mean, the prize of the draft so far looks like he's going to be extremely consistent. Get the benefit of having the early bye. It was rough to get through, but that means that he's going to be ready and rested for the rest of the season. I don't have to deal with any of that as we get into the playoff stretch out of my main man here. So, a fitting pick for the bride.
Yeah, nice early buys are good. You get them out of the way. Yeah, there's pros and cons to it, of course. Obviously, he doesn't get that break later on in the season, but he's a workhorse, always has been. But if Lamar Jackson was going to have a best man, it's got to be the big old King Henry running right alongside him. Those two were like, yeah, we were going to run this league. That's what the offseason was saying. Him and the best man up to no good, just putting up points week in, week out. Defenses are like, those are the two guys we have to worry about. And when they do load the box against them, Lamar gets it done in the air. But Derrick Henry has even gotten a little bit of passing work done as well. I don't think anyone else is more fitting to be the best man than Derrick Henry. Your thoughts?
Standing beside him in the wedding and standing beside him in the run pass option, it seems like just a natural place for Derrick Henry, the big man on campus in Baltimore right now. He's doing everything everyone hoped and more, and he doesn't even need to be out there every down. That you don't even need to deal. He just comes in and does work when he's there, and he's not taking the spotlight away from Lamar. It's not the Derrick Henry show. He's just there doing his best to support him and doing his job and coming out in spades. So definitely a great pick for the best man.
And then we aren't just going to talk about our team, guys, our teams, but we do have a maid of honor here. Maybe a maid of honor that wishes she was the bride. It's Alvin Kamara, who seems like he's just always the maid of honor, right?
Yeah, always the maid and never the bride. Yeah, but even though he was drafted a little later, I mean, he's like number 4 overall in the season in the Dimmadome, scoring tons of points. Even though the Saints have faltered the last few weeks comparative to their hot start, Kamara hasn't really had that downfall. He just continues to get those checkdowns. He has all that PPR passing work and just breaks off massive runs and makes people miss on mundane plays. So, he's making it look good out there, and I think that's the job of the main honor too.
Yeah, solid floor, just running routes around people, going, "Why is it never me?" But if there was one person that was going to be wedding Saquon and Lamar together, it's someone it was supposed to be here. They're doing their job, and maybe they're not the most exciting person at the wedding party, but our officiant is none other than Dak Prescott. He's, like I said, he's just kind of been doing the thing. He's quietly like QB8 on the season. People expect him to be here. No one ever really wants to engage with him, but at the same time, he's very important and is getting his job done.
Yeah, it might not be, he might have a couple of his parts of the speech falling flat, a couple awkward silences. You're throwing to Jalen Tolbert all that much. You don't need to keep referencing that weekend in Cabo, bro. We get it. So, but he's there. He's doing his job. He's prepared, and you're getting about what you expected out of him. So, good job, Dak. Now, he's not the guy bringing the party like the DJ, and we couldn't pick anyone else for the DJ other than CJ Stroud. CJ for the DJ. He's there. He's also, like we said, doing his job, but this is exciting stuff, right?
With vibes.
Everyone had high expectations for CJ coming in. He was drafted high. He hasn't been like quarterback 1 or 2 game-breaking, league-winning, but he's doing his job, and he was paid high for this job, and he's delivering. So the vibes are high with CJ, and I think he's the perfect pick for the DJ of the wedding.
Yeah, I think just like you'd expect at a wedding, CJ's out here. He's playing the tunes for the old folks and just to kind of get the party started. But if he can start to really turn up the beat and get going the second half of the year, the late night when the old fuddies go to bed and it's time to fucking shake some ass, that's when CJ Stroud's gonna pop off mid-season.
Oh man, he's gonna get the twerk music going late.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we had this. We have a couple flower girls to mention. Normally, the role of the flower girl is reserved for someone like one of the children at the wedding, someone very young that everyone can go ooh and how nice, how cute when you're watching it. So we thought a couple rookies to represent it here would be fitting, and we have to give a shout out to Brian Thomas Jr. on the Jags. Absolutely going nuts, blowing expectations away, putting on a show, even with Trevor Lawrence having god-awful games, the Jags being blown out in multiple occasions. The guy's still fantasy relevant every game. It's it's amazing to see such a high floor from a rookie, to have him be so reliable already. Definitely a spectacle and something enjoyable for everyone to watch.
Two LSU wide receivers coming out and dominating the league in their first year. Have I seen that one before? Oh yeah, I guess that would be Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, who did it like what 3 or 4 years ago now. Like it's the same recipe. It's Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow coming out. They're exciting. You've seen their floor. They play for bad franchises. I mean, Justin Jefferson was playing for the Vikings. I don't think they were good before he got there either. They come out, they ball out, and it's exciting to watch. You know, it's a short-lived moment of the wedding, and hopefully it's not the same for these rookies. But you know, it's nice and refreshing to see for sure.
Yeah, we had to get both of them going here. Brian Thomas Jr. and then Malik Neighbors was the other one we wanted to mention here. Talk about a spectacle of a rookie, just absolutely dominating again, like you were saying, for a bad franchise. But Daniel Jones can even look great when you get to throw to Malik Neighbors, what, like 38% of the time or something absolutely absurd. Daniel Jones is outperforming Patrick Mahomes in terms of fantasy quarterbacks this year. Just to kind of put everything in perspective, though, I don't know if that's a barometer for how bad Patrick Mahomes is doing or how good Daniel Jones is doing. But
you could say Daniel Jones is underpaid compared to Patrick Mahomes, right?
underpaid, yeah.
Underpaid.
You're the first person to say that sentence, and I don't know how many. I don't know how long, man. That's wild.
They should have paid him more. He deserves Patrick Mahomes money. No, it is insane. We're sidebarring from the way for just a second. It's insane that Patrick Mahomes is still like MVP favorite, Super Bowl favorite, just because he is who he is. It's like where are the stats to back it up, bro? Start balling out. Like they're undefeated. Yeah.
They're undefeated.
So Sam Darnold, dude. Speaking of. If there's going to be a guy who objects to the wedding, we're saying it's going to be Sam Darnold.
It has
Your Honor, hold the ceremony. I'm actually the MVP candidate, okay? I'm 5-0. And man, nothing's interrupting the season much more than Sam Darnold balling out for the Vikings.
Yeah, I agree. Comes out of nowhere. Certainly wasn't invited to the event, but he's just here, and he really is mad about the way things have gone for him. And maybe he's the scorned ex, and he wants to be back involved in everything here. So, Sam Darnold is objecting to the wedding, but. It's gonna move on anyway. We had to give a shout out to the ring bearer, or in this case, the guy in charge of the uprights. That's Brandon Aubrey. He's just been smashing. He's number 7 in the Dimmadome overall for points scored, and he's just out there doing it, man. It's Riley definitely didn't need to wait long to have this 11th round pick be justified for him. Brandon Aubrey just still picking up right where he left off and kicking those long bombs, and even though it's not the year of the kicker anymore, he's putting up crazy points.
Yeah, I looked at my cheat sheet the other day for the draft, and Brandon Aubrey was my 11th round pick. So the Zins had the 101. They got the first 11th round pick, and he picked them right where he needed to. Because man, if my team had Brandon Aubrey on it right now, I would feel even better. He's a positional advantage. I mean, he's week in, week out, he's putting up points. It's inflating the Zins. It's inflating the Manatees, and he's bearing the ring for Riley and his team. He's making it happen for him. Without him, the ceremony might just come to a halt. Where's the ring? Where's Brandon? But not every wedding is just just the people who are supposed to be there, right? We also have a couple wedding crashers we want to throw in here. We had Baker Mayfield making a return. He's a serial wedding crasher. Even last season, he wasn't supposed to be here, but he's back. Why you still out on him? I don't understand. It's crazy, but he's here to make a splash, have some fun, and score some touchdowns.
Yeah, he's been white hot. He's at the event. He's quarterback 2 of the year so far. And yeah, he doesn't need an invitation. He just shows up now wherever he wants, and he just continues to go nuts, man. I mean, they scored so many points in this last Thursday night football game. What a show that we got finally on a Thursday night football game. So thank you for that, Baker. But he's here crashing the wedding, and it's him and another quarterback who certainly wasn't invited, but is here anyway. Justin Fields. What? We thought he was left for dead. He was going to be a backup somewhere. Goes to the Steelers after they signed Russell Wilson. Manages through a combination of circumstance and play to win the starting job for the start of the season. And they're 4-1. He's been performing well. I think he's like a top 10, top 20 quarterback. Like, he's been producing great. And from nowhere, I mean, you look over your shoulder, why is Justin Fields still in my freaking quarterback top 10, man? I don't want to deal with this. But here he is. So, yeah, Justin Fields, another wedding crasher.
Yeah, the guests are like, Baker Mayfield's here. Like, that's kind of weird, but that's cool. He's got the vibes, and they're like, what the fuck is Justin Fields doing here? But if you guys don't remember, Justin Fields is fantasy relevant every season, and he's never been good. Never been good for his team or his franchise. Now he's winning games. They're not pretty wins, but the wins are coming, and again, he'll just run for 60 yards a game and, throw a couple touchdowns and feel good about it. So he's here. He's back. I mean, I think this week Russell Wilson just played his first full practice since preseason, and I don't know. Are you really gonna take the reins away and give it to Russ?
Swap him out? That'd be so bad.
And then you have to make tough decisions. Like, was Russell Wilson's game bad enough, or do we we've already made Fields feel like he can't just keep his role by winning games? It's ugly. But hey, if Russell Wilson comes and bounces Justin Fields out of this wedding, we'll keep tabs on that. I don't know why Russ was invited, but maybe he'll come and drag him out of spite.
Russ is the bouncer, yeah.
Any other guests you want to talk about here, Luke?
Yeah, we have one guest that we wanted to mention here. It's the drunk uncle, and at this point he might be blackout. It's Mark Andrews. He's sitting in the corner, dude. Absolutely just sitting in the tank, man. And at this point, they had to get stand-ins for the pictures because it'd be even Isaiah Likely and what's his name, the third string guy, 88's catching 2 touchdowns or whatever. It's I don't even know his name.
Kohler. It's Kohler.
Yeah, Kohler. Yeah, that guy's catching 2 touchdowns.
I never heard his name until this week either.
But Mark Andrews is out there blocking, and that's it. He's basically a right tackle now. He's the drunk uncle of the wedding, and he's not doing what people were hoping when they invited him. He's not doing it.
Just had his first good week, and it was like last season's bad week for him. So it hasn't been good. He's in the bag. Maybe he boots and rallies, but I am not going to hold my breath.
Well, that's the Dimmadome wedding party here. I was just a fun little segment, and I wanted to give a shout out to the 2 managers getting married this weekend. So I love both
congrats,
you guys.
fellas.
Yeah, congrats! I can't wait to see you there. But let's wrap this one up here and move back into the game breaker of this week in the Dimmadome here. Let's do it.
I'm coming! Here I come! Game breaker.
No one saw that. All right, so we got the game breakers here, or at least our top performers. But yeah, we gotta talk about Joe Burrow for Chris this week, putting up 43.78 points in that loss against Baltimore, that overtime thriller that Justin Tucker sealed out for the Ravens. Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdowns, over 300 yards, a couple of them to T. Higgins, a couple of them to Jamar Chase, just long bombs. They were scoring almost at will. That game was a complete shootout, and Chris had a lot of pieces in it. And it absolutely broke the game this week, so much so that Chris set an all-time Dimmadome score record. This was a big part of it here. He did break my record in the Dimmadome by less than
0.08.
Yeah.
0.08.
Just
pushing the limit.
A little bit there. So I'm a little salty about it, but congratulations, Chris. You got the record now with an IDP and increased kicker scoring, but you have the record.
Yeah, get that in there, Luke.
I had to do it. Can't let it go.
It's not. It's copium, but it's also not. Because he did have 2 extra. Well, he had an extra piece and a extra potent kicker. So, I totally get that. But man, Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns, and it's gonna bring us right into our score summary. There's nothing that went wrong for Chris this week. And that's how you have a week like this.
Yeah, a record-breaking week in his matchup. Let's get to that score summary so we can talk about it here.
Score summary.
Right, yeah. So we had that crushing win for Chris, 207.58 points for him versus Alex's 126.22. You're gonna have to remind me, Ricky. I don't know where the line ended up sitting for the median, but I believe, if memory serves, Alex just barely missed it. It was like 130 and change, if I remember
132. .69.
Yeah, so he just barely missed it here. A crushing 0-2 loss for him in this one. 126 points. It turns out it's just not enough. I've seen it a few times now. It's just, you don't win with 120, 125. You got to be getting your 130s, your 140s now to really feel like you got a solid chance at winning. And with the way the scoring is right now in the Dimmadome. But like we said, Joe Burrow went absolutely nuts. He had Drake London in that massive barn burner Thursday night game. He got 33 points out of him, 12 receptions for 154 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, T. Higgins went nuts for him, 2 touchdowns on 9 receptions and 83 yards. A touchdown for George Kittle. You're going to get, 112 yards out of Terry McLaurin, massive kicks out of Harrison Butker. Everything was great for him. He had a middling performance out of his defensive back, but sprinkle another 6 points on top? Why don't you? Just even Kareem Hunt off the waivers getting 18.7 for him.
Yep. He picked them off the waivers last week, or as soon as the news broke. It fits his motif, so it was a good fit. And man, I don't know. In my brain, when it was like Kareem Hunt's rejoined, my brain was like, oh, he's going back to what he was just doing. My brain put him on the Browns, and I was like, even though that's definitely not the case, right? But my brain's like, oh yeah, he'll be good. But Kareem Hunt on the Chiefs was really, really good, for years until he had that incident, and now he's back. He's thankful for the second chance, and I don't know if the Chiefs are gonna need to rely on one RB when Isaiah Pacheco comes back. Kareem Hunt's he's there. He could be a 1A guy.
They gave him 27 carries. I mean, they instantly, as soon as he was available and knew the playbook, they relied on him heavy, and they were like, yeah, he still has it. And I mean, he looked good. He looked great. You know what? 27 carries, 102 yards. That's almost 4 yards a carry. over 27 carries. That's insane. Like, that's really great. So
Oh, yeah, it's awesome, huge, and this is like a bounce back week for the Winks, right? Like they were 2-6, now they're 4-6 with a huge points for boost. This is a get right week for the women in the kitchen. So, like, shout out Chris. That's a great little wedding gift to kick you off. Alex on the other side, not getting wedding gifts before his wedding. He unfortunately got a 3-point performance from Chris Olave in that Monday Night Football game where he missed the median by like 3 points. Chris Olave should get you there, right?
man,
You drafted him. You drafted him to get you at least 10 a week, and it did not happen. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know what to say. I mean, I know how Alex feels about it. He named him to Big Sucks or like Sucks Big Ass or something.
Sucks asshole now.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
He that sucks. He completely, like, there's no chance of him beating Chris with his record-breaking week. Best he can do is scrape out a median win, and Olave can't even do that for him. And that hurts the most. That's the kind of thing that makes you want to burn ties with your wide receiver 2 or 1 in this case. But Chris Godwin took a step back this week. Bijan hasn't been that guy. There are some things that went right. Ramondre Stevenson with a big bounce back week. Tucker Kraft came off the waiver wire and put up 25 points, scored a couple touchdowns. It's a good week.
I think,
but
24.8 points. If he came off the waiver this week, Alex might. Oh well, he can't be our waiver warrior because he didn't win.
Warriors win.
And he didn't quite get the win. So, I mean, promising for him moving forward to have Tucker Kraft. It looks like he's going to just continue to be a big part of that offense. I personally was hoping it was Luke Musgrave that was going to be doing it in Green Bay this year. But it ends up being Tucker Kraft that won the job. So he's out there just crushing it. And, good for Alex there, but not enough for him this week. And goes home with the 0-2. Brings Alex to 4-6 and Chris to 4-6. Tying them up on the leaderboard here. So we'll have to see how the points shake out to see where they end up standing. But good couple wins for Chris. Let's move on to I'm Ron Burgundy versus the Dogs. Corey did manage to squeak out a median win on this one, but did lose to I'm Ron Burgundy. Nate scoring 170.66 to Corey's 133.34. Nate had Jordan Love going in that game that they did win against the Rams. That he fed Tucker Kraft those 2 touchdowns. Those were his only 2 touchdown throws, but he still got 224 yards. Wasn't the best performance, but 19 points out of your quarterback. You're not shaking your fists at that or anything.
Interception and a fumble really set you back. It's like half a TD. Yeah. And if you're only putting up 2, then you're only putting up 1.5, and that's hard to break 20 when you're doing that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of things did go right for Nate though, so it wasn't too bad for him here.
Yeah, Jamar Chase more than made up for it here with a 42-point performance. Was part of that massive Bengals game that we were talking about. Carried a lot of his week. Nico Collins only got 2 receptions, but one of them was an absolute long bomb touchdown that he just broke it off and ran too fast for his own legs. So got placed on the IR after that play here. So he's going to be missing Nico Collins for a while, but got him the 15.8 points in this week. So very considerate of Nico.
Yeah. I did not know that was his line. I didn't know it was 2 receptions, and one of them was the 68-yard touchdown. It's insane. Yep. And DJ Stroud just being like, "Yep, I fucking did that."
Yep.
Nico running way too fast for his own legs, like you said.
Yeah, too fast for his own good. But Yeah, did get him those points. Jake Ferguson also got him 14 points. The Minnesota defense just been electric all year, and they were great in London as well. 19 points out of them, and TJ Watt still just putting up numbers. 20 and a half points out of TJ Watt there. A great performance out of him, and depressing for Corey to see Patrick Mahomes as his starting quarterback getting 13 points and Kirk Cousins getting 42. Could have made a difference for him there.
Yeah, it's close. It's close. It's not quite there. I think there would have been a little bit more management needed, but that's an easy kind of fix. Patrick Mahomes, it's a tough conversation because it feels like he should be an every week lock. But the offense just isn't operating like that. He's lost some weapons. Yeah, he's going to feed Travis Kelce the ball. But you don't get points for the completions, the 8-yard completions over the middle to Travis Kelce. Well, you do, but not a lot. And I don't know. Patrick Mahomes seems like a streaming option this year, if anything. You're looking for plus matchups for him. Corey should honestly be juggling those two based on matchups. I don't think either one of them is a start them every week and don't look back kind of guy. I mean, they can be, but at your loss.
I think, Patrick's kind of past a point where he's got a ton of rushing upside. He'll get some, but 6 carries for 22 yards in this game? That's not rushing upside that you're looking for or anything like that. That's 2 points. So, yeah, you need more. You need more if you're going to win in the Dimmadome. Like I said, he barely scraped out that median win, but it wasn't thanks to Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, it was DeAndre Swift having an up week. He's hopped around a few teams now. He's a Dimmadome mercenary, but currently working for the Dogs and actually doing the work this time. He must be getting treated well over in the Dogs facilities versus where he's been the last couple weeks, because now he's deciding to put up 20 and look great. Got a touchdown, got a couple of receptions. He broke off kind of a long one, and even 73 yards on the ground. So,
yeah, maybe he was just trying to find his groove, or maybe he wasn't down with the downs. I don't know. But hey, like he started off with the downs, early draft pick. He came over to the Sorcerers, had a stint there. He performed well. I tried to flip him, thinking that he wouldn't keep going, honestly, or at least not at the same clip. But here he is. It's a great performance. If he keeps it up, I might be I might be going, oh shucks, man, I got rid of him.
Well, you got plenty in return. We didn't have a chance to address that trade, but we'll talk about it when we get to the segment.
Everything has a cost, Luke.
But yeah, it was thanks to DeAndre Swift. It was thanks to Rashid Shaheed getting another long bomb touchdown. Just a couple other receptions here and there, but really that he just become a long bomb specialist on the Saints, and it kind of just keeps working. I don't know. He's just behind the defenders, and then Derek Carr's just throwing the ball as far as he can, and it just kind of has been working. We'll see if that changes at all without Derek Carr in the coming week or weeks here, as he's apparently expected to miss some time with an oblique injury.
The route Shaheed ran was really good. He didn't just zoom by them with elite speed, which he has, but he really got a defender to bite, square himself off, do what he needed to, and then just sidestepped, and he had 13 yards of separation instantly, and it's just put it up somewhere near the end zone, and I'm going to come down with it. It was a really good route. Feels repeatable. If Spencer Rattler can just throw long balls, then maybe Shaheed, can do the same sort of thing with them, but we shall see.
We shall. Yeah, it's been something that's been surprisingly consistent so far, so I guess it would be less surprising if it continued to be consistent. George Pickens off a down week here, 3 receptions for 26 yards against Dallas. Not what you want to see. 7 targets. I don't remember watching a ton of that game and watching George Pickens specifically, but 5.6 points is definitely not what you want there. So something definitely went wrong for him in his usage, and it's a game that they lost by 3. So I guess you got to be a little bit upset if you're a Pickens owner, hoping that he'd get more action and they'd come away with a win there, but it wasn't in the cards for him.
He did. That's is that Monday night or is that Sunday night?
That was Sunday night. Oh yeah, that was the late game.
Oh, that's right.
Because
That's
it got
right.
rain delayed. Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, he got just enough for Corey to squeak in the median win. Cheeky.
Just barely.
It's so messed up. Yeah, I mean that's and you want to know who's really the big winner for the dogs this week? It's Young Hoku. It's Young Wei Ku. He's just out here doing the thing every week, just finishing drives, barn burner, like you said, and 27 points, 26 points. It's the median there.
Yeah. I mean, he
it's
needed all of every single one of these performances to just
Right.
barely get it. So, yeah, getting big weeks out of your kicker, your defense, your wide receiver 2, like what is Rashid is 1 right now? I don't know. Just cuz he's facing so many injuries and difficulties, but yeah, we'll see if he ends up pulling it together and getting more than a median win next week. But that puts him at 5-5, and that puts the 2-0 victory up for the Hamburglar, gets him up to 8-2 there. So good couple wins for Nate. Let's talk about the toaster baths versus the land manatees. This one was I'm gonna do a little double checking, but I believe this one was our
Wet Noodle Fight of the Week.
double median misser here, barely 112 points for the land manatees and 91 points for the toaster baths. The Lee median is striking again. It seems like he can barely crack 100 most of these weeks, and I don't know why. Josh Allen just struggling. He only completed 9 passes on 30 attempts. That's miserable. And he benches Justice Hill in the weeks that he scores 20 points. He starts Justice Hill 3 points. Rashad White, not been great. CeeDee Lamb, he's got a little poop emoji next to him. He hasn't been hitting his projections in a few of these weeks here, so disappointment there. Did get some good performances out of Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cole Kmet, but 2 points out of Jerry Jeudy, and only 5 out of Tremaine Edwards, the linebacker for the Bears. So did get
TJ Edwards.
Yeah, or sorry, TJ Edwards. Did get
He
17. Oh, sorry.
Doubled up on the Chicago defense here, and it almost worked out for him.
Yeah, didn't get the right piece. Got 17 points out of the Bears defense, but it wasn't the guys who forced the fumbles or recovered any of the fumbles or got the sacks or even got the interception that ended up on his team here. So a little bit of bad luck there and a good matchup for the Bears defense, but that wasn't the reason he lost, I would say.
Justice Hill with 3.5 points in a 41-point offensive showing is crazy because you watch the games and you're like, a week ago, it's like, damn, like Justice Hill and Derrick Henry are like a 1-2 punch, and Justice Hill's kind of nice with it. And then he comes out and he's like, yeah, they didn't need me, guys. I don't know what to tell you. We did Zay Flowers this week. Like, it's tough. That's how the Ravens feel. It's just like pick a player, they're gonna go off. Everyone else, famine.
Yep. Yeah. So only 3.5 out of Justice Hill for him this week. And if you wanted to pin it on something, yeah, I could definitely say that would have been a lot better for him. Chase Brown scoring 16 points on his bench. You're probably looking at something a little closer. You do something like that, so feels bad. That's a coin flip sort of decision in the middle of the week. You're like, which one do I go with? And he's like, no, Justice Hill's been producing. Bummer.
He had Monty on bye, and Rashi Rice is freshly injured. It's It's a dip for the Toaster Baths. I think they could bounce back. I don't think these down performances are indicative of like their entire season. But on the other side, Riley was cursing Lehman during the game, saying, only Lehman could lure me into a wet noodle fight. He knew what was going on in the midst of it. And Lehman's like, "Here, take this noodle. Let's let's fight to the death."
Wet noodle fight of the week.
Hitting it
And
again.
Lehman loses those. But yeah, Riley took a 1-1 week this week, getting the 8-2, and it wasn't a pretty win. But when you're up in the top three, and you can just keep on holding your edge there, even with a 1-1 week, it's a good thing.
Yeah, a little bit of a coasting week out of the land manatees. Only 3 points out of Debo. Not really a great week for DK Metcalf. I can barely read his 7.5 points because of Riley's long nickname there. But yeah, Brandon Aubrey definitely carrying this stable here. And the Denver defense also has been electric all year. So 17 out of Max Crosby, too. Just great from his special teams and defense down at the bottom. Really a strong core to his team that you wouldn't really expect to see playing as much of an important role. But let's face it here, that's 3 whole positions of your team that can score high any given week now. So it's not really just a whatever, pick whoever and just stick a guy and hope I get points anymore. Like, you kind of got to be looking at this shit now. These guys matter, and they're scoring big. So, yeah, it's good on Riley for at least having great guys there and getting the win this week. Yeah, 8-2 for him and 3-7 for the Toaster Bats. I know that doesn't feel great because someone else is there with him. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's get on to the Stroud Boys versus Bill Cosby Sleepers. Talk about someone being mad about missing the median. I know Artie is not a fan of it, and I'm sure this week he's cursing it even louder. Barely missed it with a total of 132.04 points. Getting the 0-2 loss this week. I mean, 132 points. I was just saying, 120 isn't really enough, but even I said in that example, you really want to score around at least 130. He did that. He scored 132, and he's still not getting there. You're not even really all upset about this week. Chuba Hubbard was great, got 17.5. Justin Fields still crashing the party at the wedding here, almost 19 points for him. We got Alexander Madison showing up with Zamir White out, got 10.1 points. Christian Kirk doing well, Stephon Diggs doing well, Travis Kelce finally showing up. Hell, Mark Andrews was even out there. The drunk uncle got 4 receptions for 55 yards. It was.
I think it probably comes down to Jake Moody getting a high ankle sprain mid-game. Like, he got tackled and like lit up, and I think that was probably the difference maker there. I'm sure San Francisco would have gotten him an extra point or 3 throughout the game. That's a crazy wrinkle. That's a bad beat.
Yeah.
It's a poker bad beat, man. That sucks, because on the other side, their teams kind of did the same. It's not a far difference here. 141 to 132. We're talking about a 10-point spread.
I mean, that's one kick. That's one 50-yard kick. So yeah, Jake Moody's there to kick a game winner at the end of the game from almost at the logo or something, and Artie wins this one. So never mind the opportunities he probably would have had earlier in that game just to kick regular field goals instead of having them go for it. So yeah, rough. I mean, I know for a fact that the backup kicker came in and nailed a couple. So there it is.
There it is.
And that's I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles. It's not even the year of the kicker, but the kicker is always important.
Was it a kick return? He was trying to tackle somebody, and in doing so, he got his leg run over. It looked awful.
I think it got blocked.
It was either a block or a return or something. I think it was a block, though.
I think it got blocked.
And I know Riley was like, "Hey, how many blocks happened this week?" It did seem like it was happening quite a bit. Special teams are like, "We're not gonna let you guys just make these automatic plays. We're gonna try to disrupt you," and it worked week 5. Lots of that going around the league.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to compile the full number of blocks that happened in week 5, but maybe before tonight's game, I'll see if I can't put that together before it's a thing of the past here, because trying to find weekly stats that are a week old are super tough. but I'll see if I can't get it done here. But in any case, yeah, good 2-0 win for the Stroud boys, moving to 6-4 from having that 500 record before, moving into the upper echelon of the Dimmadome. And Bill Cosby sleepers, losing a step and taking that 0-2 loss, going down to 3-7 here. I think I might have glazed over the Stroud boys team a little bit. CJ Stroud still DJing, wasn't quite up to performance this week because of the fumble he lost, but other than that, it was just about what you expected out of him. Breece Hall with a disappointing performance. That has quite a lot of people worried about the New York Jets' future, in combination with a few things that are happening there. Robert Saleh getting fired yesterday or the day before, out of nowhere. No one had expected that. I heard reports that he was planning on trying to get Nathaniel Hackett fired, and they fired him instead. And
He doesn't seem incompetent, so I don't really understand.
He just didn't seem like a leader, man. I don't know. He didn't really seem like a great head coach.
I don't know. I bet you he goes and gets picked up somewhere else, because there's plenty of teams out there that could use a real head coach. Probably the Raiders would do well to go and acquire him, because Antonio Pierce isn't it. But yeah, I mean, a good week from the Stroud boys. Nice solid performance. 140. That's the kind of number that you need to beat the median and have a chance at taking down your opponent. I think it was probably 4th or 5th highest in the league this week. So, it's still kind of not like a top 3 score. 140 should be topping the charts. It does in most leagues. I don't know. Has IDP gone too far?
I think it was that, and also this was a pretty high scoring week. We had a few of those games with a lot of fantasy relevant players playing, that were very, very high scoring. That Tampa Bay Falcons game was 66 points overall in that were scored. That Ravens Bengals game, it was like almost 80 or something ridiculous. So yeah, there was just a ton of scoring to be had this week, and it was captured by a lot of the players that were played. So the IDPs were definitely a part of it too, though. I know I Van Ginkeled a little bit. We'll talk about it in a second here, but there's definitely a lot of stuff going on with those guys here. Let's take a look at
Van Ginkling. Hey, I'm squanching here.
I'm squanching here. Let's take a look at what you had for the IDP going. Scorponok, our Robert Spillane for you has been doing well. 10 tackles for him, 12 points.
He is just cruise control on the highway, right? I decided I just need a guy that's going to constantly give me 10 points down there, and that's what he's been doing. I might be swinging for upside depending on matchup in the future, but man, he's been a good find. I was like week 2 or 3, I was just like, who's just playing so many defensive snaps and is always getting tackles, and it's that guy. So that's my dude down there. Sorry, derail.
Yeah,
my team.
No, there he is. That's who we were talking about there. He's just in there getting all those tackles for you. He's a big part of your continued win streak into 10-0 here, getting both the median win and the matchup win versus Mike, who only scored 102.76 points in this one. Did manage to break 100, but this was Sam Darnold's first bad fantasy performance so far this year. They won that game, but he threw a pick, he lost a fumble, didn't throw any touchdowns. And yeah, it was just not a great performance out of him. Travis Etienne did well enough catching 6 passes, but really was outshone by this week's RB1 Tank Bigsby, who was just sitting on my bench. But yeah, sitting on benches here in most leagues, I'm sure. But I don't think that will be the case moving into next week after what he did this week and how bad ETN really has looked in comparison.
Kenneth Walker back with a fury, dude. He came back and they were like, "Yep, give it to him." Charbonnet's been doing great for us. Literally no complaints about Charbonnet and his play. Doesn't matter. Welcome back, Kenny Walker. Here's your full workload. We're gonna throw the ball to you 8 times. Eat. Eat. I mean, I guess it's just 5 carries, but I don't think they were running the ball very often against the Giants. They were trying their best to keep pace with Daniel Jones and his receiving core, fans, Malik Neighbors. Man, so thrifty over there in New York. But I was thinking about Sam Darnold and that Vikings Jets game. The fans in London, they must be like, this is football. Like interceptions, fumbles, like it's excitement, right? It's not like great offensive showings, but
put a good product out there.
Yeah, I feel like it's the kind of football that gets like a 13-year-old like, "Whoa, that was a crazy thing that happened," but other people are like, "Oh, why are they so incompetent?" Right? Like true NFL fans are like, "This is just a display of incompetence. A head coach should get fired for this."
Well,
meanwhile, the Brits are just eating it up. They're like, "This is insane.
This is real American football."
Yeah.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson was in that game. He was part of the one that fumbled it. It looks like he didn't lose it, but he did fumble. 6 receptions for 92 yards and no touchdowns. You want more out of Justin Jefferson, but 14 points isn't anything to be too upset about. Zay Flowers got him 19. Xavier Worthy got him 11, which are good performances out of his wide receiver 2 and 3, but -2 points out of the Baltimore defense, who gave up 38 points against the Bengals. That's a good way to lose a matchup there, and lose it he did. 5 points out of your quarterback, -2 out of your defense. Pretty insurmountable.
Yeah, on my side, I had a couple of waiver pickups that I put right into my lineup. I need them for the bye weeks. My Lions were off. My Neighbors was injured, so Trey Sermon and Josh Downs got the start here, and they both did well for me. So can't complain. It was a spooky week. I think the only week that was spookier was my matchup against you, but this was a nail biter for sure. To me, I think you guys all think I'm just coasting on easy street. I am anxious the entire time. I thought the median was going to catch me at 150 because of the way the games had been going that weekend. Stop with the eyebrow thing. I'm a ball of anxiety over here. You think I make all these moves because I just feel so content? No, I'm stressed. I don't want to fuck it up.
You said it was a nail biter and you won by 50, so like
it's a nail biter
hard
though.
To believe.
Everything's a nail biter.
Yeah. Well, he benched, he put Freiermuth in over Kyle Pitts, and then Kyle Pitts has his best game of his life.
Did the opposite last week. He said he can't buy a win in this league.
He's just off and on, and just has the worst luck with his players there. So that earns him a tough 0-2 here, putting him down at 2-8, and 2-0 for you at 10-0. We'll see how long you can keep that up here. But we got one more matchup to talk about. It's my matchup versus the Up Downs. They're up because they won. They scored quite a lot of points this week, 162.9 to my 116.14. I picked the wrong quarterback, man. Andy Dalton got 1.74 points when I had the guy he was playing against on my bench. Caleb Williams put up 27.5. That one hurts. I own Devon Achane, and I think 5 or 6 of the 7 leagues that I'm in, and he put up 2.7 points this week and got a concussion. So that sucked. Antonio Gibson started for the Patriots, according to reports, and only got 6 carries. So I guess that was more of a, I guess I want to say ceremonial, or no, what do I don't even know what the word is that I'm looking for, but not an accurate representation of how the ball was going to be distributed during the game. That I could
Guys, we're
say.
punishing Ramondre. He's got to pay for his 4 fumbles. Did he fumble week 5? No. Was it because they gave him another chance? 5th chance? Yes.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's just mouth service. It's all it is. It's mouth service. It is ceremonial to just be like, you're sitting out the first drive, you stinky guy that we pay lots of money. And imagine being the sucker that bought into that. Crazy.
Yeah, right. Crazy. Yeah, and I definitely didn't have any like better options on my bench or anything. But yeah, and so not great performances out of the running backs. Tyreek Hill did beat his projections, but his projections have been lowered for a little while. I can't believe New England still managed to lose that game. That was a terrible game to watch, and because I'm so heavily indexed into the Dolphins, I was invested and had to watch every snap of that. Even during that, it was like a double header at that point. It was like the Colts game was on and that game was on, and I was like, no, I have to watch the Dolphins like only right now because this is important to me.
Yeah. Have you considered being like a Jags fan instead? Because your Jags are putting up numbers. Have you ever liked the Jaguars?
Only all of last year, much to my chagrin and disappointment.
Oh,
But
the year before too. That's right.
yeah. But other than that, yeah, I could have put Tank Bigsby in, but that's
Hey,
still
you
wouldn't
got
have
past
beat
the
Dylan.
Saquon by. We took some lumps. Your bench is up, and that's what's important. Achan isn't going to get concussed every week, hopefully. Hey, the Nico Collins got injured. The carpet has been laid out for Tank Dell. They can scheme with him. He's further and further away from his injuries every week. He did get shot in the offseason. It's a little disruptive to your normal ebb and flow. So yeah, I mean maybe week 6 is your week.
Please, Tank Dell. Yeah, unfortunately, my Dolphins are on bye week 6. Not even if Achane was
That's
going to come
probably
back.
for the best because I know you're going to have a hard time sitting Tyreek Hill, even though you should probably find another option until Tua comes back.
Well, it's probably going to be Keon Coleman this week, but we'll see. On the other side, Dylan did have a great week, like we said, 162.9 points, 29 out of his newly acquired Baker Mayfield. He only got 6.3 out of Aaron Jones, but he didn't need any more than that. Almost 30 points out of Garrett Wilson, 13 receptions on 23 targets for 101 yards and a touchdown. That's an insane amount of targets, the most I think I've seen so far this season. Or no, Cooper Kupp had that one game where he had 30 targets, I think, after Puka
Was
went
it
down.
30? I think it might have been like 21. Maybe it was 24.
I kind of think it was 30. I don't know if I
All
want
right,
to look it up.
I'll go digging. You talk about how Wilson, Moore, and Ayuk had their best games of the season all at the same time for the downs.
Yep, that's true. They did do that. Garrett Wilson wasn't even starting over Alan Lazard for Dylan, and even though Alan Lazard had continued to score more points than Garrett Wilson every week that he started him, he still decided to swap him out this week. Just had a hunch on the inside that Garrett Wilson was going to score him 30, and he did. Yeah. Brandon Ayuk, 8 receptions for 147 yards. A missed extra point for Groupie, which got him -4 points, but made up for it with the Washington defense. And this week's
Waiver Warrior,
Xavier McKinney, scoring him 20 points. It was, like you're saying, not quite as much as Tucker Kraft, but it was a game-winning performance out of Xavier McKinney. An interception, a fumble recovery, 3 tackles, and 2 defended passes for him there. So a great performance in that win against the Rams. And yeah, it was just a great performance all around from Dylan's guys. Besides Aaron Jones, who got injured, and Dalton Kincaid, who was part of that terrible game that Josh Allen had against Houston. Everyone else but Groupie put up for him. So good job, Dylan. Kicked my ass this week. I'm back down to 3-7, and he moves up to 4-6. Did you end up finding anything about that Cooper Kupp stat?
Yeah. So Cooper Kupp's 21 targets week 1 is his career high. And I'm looking through for anyone else that's done anything quite like that. So 23 is 23. I think it's the best this season. Almost certainly. Yeah. So 23 is outrageous. I'm sure if you go back, you'll find someone that had 25 at some point, but 23 is outrageous. In a game where they lost, in a game where your coach gets fired, maybe they should be thinking about shipping Wilson out if he can't win a game with 23 targets.
Yeah, and they did. I mean, they fired solid. They said, "Screw that guy. We're done with him, and we're moving on to bigger and better things without him." So, a surprise for a lot of people after only 5 weeks, but he's out of there. Let's look at the score breakdown here before we move on out of the score summary. We had Chris, like I said, breaking that record. He actually had more in the tank. Could have scored 209.18 points, but was still very, very efficient on the week. The only person that was more efficient was Dylan and Eric, who were 100% efficient this week for their points. I was the least efficient, I believe. I could have scored 173, but I scored 116. So that kind of hurts. That would have been a top 3 score this week, but nothing I can do about it now.
Hey, Andy Dalton did you dirty, man. That's the Red Rocket, who is actually the Challenger Rocket, and you're just Christy McAuliffe. That's rough, buddy. Yeah. Really didn't do anything wrong. Just were in a rocket that was gonna explode.
Yeah, I was strapped in, and I exploded with him. So feels bad,
terrible.
Man. Yep.
Yeah, feels terrible.
But
sorry, brother.
let's move on from that. Take a quick peek at the standings here. You're on top, undefeated. Hard to do better than that. Number 2 is Nate. I'm Ron Burgundy with the 8-2 record, also tied with the Land Manatees, but beating him by a good almost 60 points in points 4, so has a firm grip of second place. The Stroud boys are the only 6-4 team. They're in 4th place. And then the Dogs are the only team at 500, 5-5. They're in 5th place. Up next, we have a bunch of people in at 4-6. We've got the Women in the Kitchen. That's Chris moving up 4 spots this week with that impressive 2-0 win. The AZ 69ers moving down 3 in that same game with the loss. And then we have the Up Downs with their 2-0 win, moving up 4 spots as well into 8th place. Even though they have the lowest points scored by a whole lot, they managed to find almost a quarter of those points against me in week 5 there. So
it's 70 points between 6th and 7th here for Chris and Alex, who just squared off, right? It was a big week for them. It's huge implications. And then, yeah, Dylan's a whole 100 underneath Alex. So he's 170 away from Chris, and he's sitting right there at 4-6 with him. Feels like a scam, but I think it's all just the up downs being reeled down at the beginning of the year and finally stepping into their stride. Week 5. Again, tough, Luke. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to keep it up here. That loss did knock me down to 3-7 and into 9th place, with the Bills Cosby Sleepers and the Toaster Bats right behind me, also at 3-7 at 10th and 11th here. Not pictured is the Perverts. I believe they're 2-8. They're having a rough go of it, and they're at the bottom of the leaderboard, so not even earning a spot on the screen for the standings there. So let's get out of the score summary. We have a couple trades to go over that happened in between last week and this week, and also some waiver moves. So let's get down to the wire.
Down to the wire.
Okay, we had 10 waiver claims this week. I meant to make a note of it on here somewhere who the claims were that didn't end up getting these, but I know a few
I
of
can
them
fill in those blanks from memory.
offhand.
Tracy is Dylan, myself, and Riley.
And then, we had a couple here. I know Dylan ended up getting Roshan Johnson, which
I think the other claim was myself.
And then Artie put in a claim for the Texans defense. I was the one who put in a claim for the Eagles defense. So we were both looking at defenses, and he got his before I got mine there. The Chiefs are on bye, so I wasn't holding the defense through their bye week. They've been fine, but not good enough to hold. So I got the Texans this week against New England, though now that I'm thinking I might go a different direction there. Just due to some other decisions that we'll talk about in a second here. But in any case, those were some of the more tame ads. Like we were saying, we did have a couple other guys move. Geno Smith going to Artie's team with the looming news of Russell Wilson possibly coming back. He knows he's going to need an alternative from Justin Fields at quarterback, hoping Geno Smith may be the answer for him in the future. I picked up Brian Branch. Van Ginkel is on bye this week, so I am going to hold on to him, but I need another guy to play. So this guy's been like top 5 in average points per game this year for defenders, so I'm hoping that he'll be good for me after they're rested off the bye.
Good defense, good player on a good defense. You know, those guys are dogs. They go out and make plays. Brian Branch he's good. It's good upside. I don't think we've seen his floor yet. So, you know, if he just keeps showing upside, ride that wave.
Here's hoping.
Dylan desperately needed running back help this week. So getting his hands on Tyrone Tracy and Roshan Johnson are big. His big acquisition at running back was Aaron Jones, and he's injured. I don't think he'll play this week. Maybe in the next coming week or so. But actually, the Vikings on bye this week.
Vikings are on bye this week. That's what I was saying. Van Ginkel's on bye.
Oh, that's right. So, Aaron Jones is on bye anyway, but it's rough for the Downs. They need to be thrifty here with their running backs, and Tracy and Roshan are potential touchdown candidates, especially Roshan. He gets all the goal line work.
Yeah, so a couple important ads for the Downs there, getting some running back help. We got a kicker move. Witherspoon wasn't all that great for Chris last week, and I think he needs a new kicker because his might be on bye this week or something. Jalen Tolbert getting a lot of action for Dallas, so you saw it fitting to pick him up. Trey Sermon heading out here. It's their bye week 2, right? And then Jonathan Taylor's probably going to come back after that. So even though he had an admirable performance for you, it was simply his time to go, right?
Yeah. I don't know if they're on bye this week. I think they have a tough matchup, though. Maybe they are on bye. But yeah, he wasn't worth holding through the bye, if that's the case, or the tough matchup. I can't really remember. And when I look at Jalen Tolbert, I look at his schedule, and I like the whole back half of the year is green. And if he's getting 8 targets a game on one of the fastest playing offenses in the league. They're third in red zone plays. They're first in, passing plays. Like, yeah, give him to me. Give me that guy. We'll see if he develops over the year, and if he doesn't, then we might have to say sayonara to him.
Yeah, worth a shot. Rashee Rice got dropped.
Yeah, moment of silence.
R.I.P. Rashee Rice.
He's out. He's gone.
He's on. They're saying
they said his season's over. Last night they said it's done. That during his surgery, they repaired stuff, and that he'll be good to go for 2025.
All right.
So,
Well, R.I.P.
hey, if you have an IR slot and you don't believe in medicine, then go ahead and grab them. Yeah, put some rice on it.
Salute, Rushy Rice. We hardly knew you this season, but yeah,
Man,
he
so
is out. We had another little kicker swap for you there, and yeah, there was some other moves that are not pictured here. Some free agency moves. I picked up Drake May as well. I'm thinking I might start him this week. The Patriots are starting him, and I kind of want to see what will happen. I think he's got rushing upside. Could be cool to see. And I've been having quarterback woes anyway, so I don't know. As long as I get more than 2 points, it'd be better than what I did last week. So
yeah, there's only up from here, right?
yeah,
Right?
only up from there. But yeah, there was also a couple to just one trade. You traded Sam Laporta and DeAndre Swift or there was another guy for
Sam
Jahmyr
Laporta,
Gibbs.
DeAndre Swift, and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp for my haul of Jahmyr Gibbs and Deontay Johnson. It's a 3 for 2. I identified Corey's need for a tight end. He keeps wheeling out Colby Parkinson. So here's Sam Laporta in exchange for, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Cooper Kupp comes back and makes a splash too. So if he can hold out and stay around 500 and Cooper Kupp rolls back in, he'll have a difference maker, a guy that can win him weeks. So when it comes to the value of the trade, I might have made out a little bit better, but I think Corey's has some pieces that he can work with.
Yep, another great trade for Ricky. Good job, Ricky. You did it.
Do you think two teams can win a trade, or do you think there always has to be a winner and a loser? I just want to know, fundamentally, can both teams win a trade?
I think two teams can benefit from a trade, yes.
Okay, so two teams can win.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, two teams can win. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you always someone lost here. Someone has to lose.
It's because it's exceedingly rare for both teams to just be better off after something like that. It's not like Corey wasn't starting Jahmyr Gibbs every week, because he was.
Yeah.
But
yeah, now he's got Swift. He's just gonna put up 20 points every week too.
Yeah.
The Bears are getting rolling. Caleb Williams is all acclimated. Not starting Caleb Williams and starting Drake May instead is taking a newly acclimated quarterback and saying, no, I'm going to go with fresh out of the wrapper, Drake May, and hope that he acclimates instantly.
Yep.
I'm not going to give you fantasy advice or anything, but I do feel like that's what you're doing here. You're saying, I need the new product, the newest iPhone on the market.
It could be anything. Could even be a boat. It's the mystery box, man.
The mystery box. Okay. Yeah, you're hitting the mystery box. You're not buying the MP40 off the wall.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I heard that. Understood.
Yeah. So
could be a ray gun. Could be a ray gun.
Yeah, could be anything here. So anyway, I'm gonna find out. I don't think the Texans defense has been that sturdy this year or anything. They're at least beatable. They can be scored on. So hopefully,
but Jacksonville has been pretty loose too against the Bears. Hey, like I said, don't buy the MP40. Go ahead and hit the box, dude.
I don't know. That's what the Illuminati wants you to think. That the Bears will just beat the Jags and everything will be hunky-dory. But anyway, that's enough about our trades and team woes and whatnot here. Let's talk about the future, what we're going to be looking at for other matchups, and what everyone else is going to be doing as well here. And let's get into our projection preview for Week 6 of the 2024 Dimmadome Football League.
projection preview.
All right, yeah, let's take a look here. Why don't we just start out with it? I guess we talked about it a little bit. We got the dogs, we got the Dimsdale Ball Hogs. I swear I've switched these guys a couple times, but even the app wants me to keep Caleb Williams in as my starting quarterback against the Jags in London. Another London game. We're back to London.
I forgot about that.
But
that is a wrinkle.
While we're here, I don't want it. I want Drake May in there, so I'm gonna put him in live on the podcast. Here he is, Drake May going in against Houston. He still needs to replace his quarterback, but he's got Kirk Cousins, so we can just add another almost 19 points to his projections. He's looking at a good 110. Yeah, so I'm still projected to win so far with the lineup I'm wheeling out. Tank Bigsby going out there after his big performance last week. I got a piece of that morning game. I hope that Tank Bigsby is it. Saquon Barkley back off the bye versus the Cleveland defense. Cleveland's been bad so far this year, so hopefully they just get to run the ball out and win the game there that way. Tank Dell versus New England. This is going to be a game without Nico Collins, so I'm hoping Tank Dell finally gets to pop, and Brian Thomas also continues to do Brian Thomas things.
Gonzo covering Diggs in the New England game. Hopefully, you're hoping.
I'm hoping. Yeah, here's hoping. And Tank Dell just gets open and gashes him a few times. Like I said, I was kind of thinking of maybe doing something else instead of the Houston defense, but that's what I got here for now. And Keon Coleman in my flex because, Tyreek Hill on bye, Ty Chandler on bye. And, of course, I'm also missing Mr. Not pictured here, Devon Achane. He's in my IR slot right now. But, that's what I'm putting together. I'm projected to beat Corey, even if he is swapping this guy out. So he's going to have to hope he beats his projections somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly a kind of a down week for the Dogs. I mean, Kirk Cousins is either going to go, I am the truth, and I'm back for another week of it, or it's going to be like a return to ground level for him where he's like, yeah, well, sometimes I am Kirk Cousins. It's a double-edged sword. So, we'll see how that kind of plays out for him. I don't think he has a lot of plus matchups this week, and I think he's got to have more guys on bye or injured. He's waiting for Cooper Kupp and Nick Chubb to come back. Xavier Legette. Did he get the nod? Is he good to go? He was
good.
Questionable.
He's healthy.
He's good to go? All right. Well, Porter's still on his bench. Obviously, he's got to move a few guys around, but what's he got in there right now for the tight end? Fant?
Yeah, 6.5 instead of what? 10.
I'm still a Fant believer. He didn't get the touchdown. I'm sorry for you guys that believe with me. I don't think anyone did, but I did, and it lost. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a brotherly showdown. It happens at least once a year, sometimes multiple times. I really don't see Corey's way out of it, but he always manages to find a way to make it at least close. Should have done research on your guys' overall record. I'm sure you've taken at least one game off of him.
I have beat him before, but I don't think recently my luck has been too great against him. So
last year you're little pups.
Yeah,
so
hoping I'm trying to get one back on him this year, and maybe maybe Drake May is the one to do it, or hey, maybe I'm just gonna make the wrong quarterback choice out of 3 quarterbacks 2 weeks in a row, and then lose. So that would be fun too.
Caleb Williams in London is a wrinkle, though. I gotta think more about that. But yeah, I mean, hey, Drake May just comes out and shows out, and you're like, told you guys, been believing. I mean, it's since the preseason you've been on the Drake May hunt. So I know you're a big Drake May believer, and it's time to to put your money where your mouth is, I guess. But big matchup to do it in. Oof.
It's time to see it. Hey, yeah, I'm gonna do it here. This is the league where I call my shots, and I'm gonna call it again here. So why not? I'm depending on him in a lot of places. Actually, I had that's a story for a different time. But in any way, yeah, Drake might be getting the nod. He at least is for the Patriots. Let's look at the Stroud Boys versus the Women in the Kitchen. Right now, Chris is projected to win this one by a good 6 points. He's still firing up his Bengals. He's looking at the return of Joe Mixon. Drake London, he's hoping gets another 30 points against Carolina. And yeah, like I said, his little Bengals stack. He's got Terry McLaurin going again as well. Nothing really going too crazy for him. He's keeping Harrison Butker on his bench because he's on bye and Kareem Hunt's on bye, but nothing else really has changed too much for him here. He seems like he's getting his guys back. No one's really on bye for him. That's too important. And he's looking to fight at full strength against the Stroud Boys.
Yeah, I mean, interesting storyline here, I think, is that last week Chris went from 2-6 to 4-6 against a team that was 4-4. He kind of like took the other guy down 2 pegs and went up to himself and matched them. They both ended at 4-6, and he has the opportunity to do that here again. He can go to 6-6 and drop Eric down to 6-6, and that's climbing the ladder 2 rungs at a time, really. So. Big week again, back-to-back big weeks for the Women in the Kitchen. If he can continue with this momentum next week, I just looked at it. He's got Mike, who's sitting at the bottom. So if he can get momentum, he might just propel himself right into a nice, cushy playoff spot where he just needs to kind of coast. So huge week. He'll be getting married, so I'm sure his thoughts will be elsewhere. But maybe they won't. Maybe the Dimmadome has infected his brain just like mine.
Oh man!
I don't think he'll be checking scores Sunday night, but maybe Monday he'll be tuning in. He's supposed to be honeymooning or something.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, we'll certainly see. Maybe his karmic energy in the universe will have him have a good week because he's getting married and it's a big day for him on Sunday. So maybe all of his Sunday players are going to perform and put up for him there. But I guess we're just going to have to see when it happens there. The Stroud Boys on the other side hoping for a bounce-back performance out of Breece Hall. He's got James Cook and Breece Hall going in that same Monday night Bills-Jets game. So he's going to hope for a lot of ground game there. But on Sunday, it's all air. He's hoping for C.J. Stroud to put up versus the New England defense, who has looked beatable. They have some strong spots, but also some weak spots. He's hoping for Mike Evans to keep himself from fighting Marshawn Lattimore on the field long enough to score a touchdown, like in his face or something. Cade Otton's matchups, just like I saw a tweet about like tight end strength of schedule, and the Bucs have the easiest schedule for tight ends moving into the next 4 games. So Cade Otton is set up for success. This is a guy who in 2023 took the most snaps as a tight end. So the team trusts him. He's out there, and it seems like he's kind of in the process of breaking out. We'll see if
I've liked Cade for a few seasons now, and yeah, the Mike Evans thing is interesting. I just saw a clip of Mike Evans with I think it was Darius Slay of the Eagles, and he's like, "Hey, congrats on 11 seasons, man." And yeah, hey, you too. And they're just all buddy after running routes against each other. But when it's Marshawn Lattimore, it's on site, dude. They hate each other. And I don't think Baker Mayfield's doing anything besides fanning those flames. So
for sure.
I expect there to be something going on here. Mike Evans is risky in these kinds of matchups because he is just a liability to get ejected because he gives 0 fucks about hitting Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh yeah, he'll hit Marshawn Lattimore from anywhere. He just wants to put that dude in the dirt.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I love Mike Evans. Down with Marshawn Lattimore. Sound off in the comments if you like Lattimore more.
Someone should sign Marshawn Lattimore to their team and see if this is going to be like a legacy Lattimore game where he pops off and defends like 10 passes. That would be pretty funny.
No, because he's just going to get kicked out too.
Yeah.
And put up nothing for you.
That's true.
Not always how it works out. But yeah, huge matchup. I think this is probably... I mean, this is up there for one of the more... the word's escaping me, but this is an important matchup. It has
impactful matchups of the week.
Implicative. It's big. It's you and the Dogs, and then the Stroud Boys and the Winks. After that kind of cools off, we're looking at Ron Burgundy versus Herbert the Perverts. This is just, second place versus 12. There's always a chance for upsets. Never rule anyone out on any given Sunday, but
not only are they coming from the bottom, but they have Justin Jefferson and Sam Darnold on bye.
Yeah, no, it's a tall mountain to climb. But hey, that's when you get those thrifty waiver players in there, and all of a sudden, Alec Pierce drops 24 points. He's not playing this week. He'll find someone though, I'm sure.
He's gonna need Roma Dunze to be there for him. He's gonna need to plug Justin Herbert back in. Xavier Worthy's on bye as well, so he needs even another option to play.
Probably
maybe he
flex out Freiermuth. Yeah.
Tony Pollard or something, and swaps out Freiermuth for Kyle Pitts. So I mean, he's got options, but he's still, I'm sure, wouldn't be projected to win after making those swaps either. Nate's team looks strong. I mean, Jordan Love has been putting up numbers. Jamar Chase was just freakish last week, and the Giants' defense is beatable, very easily beatable. Hoping for the return to Devonta Smith off of bye. Turd Ferguson doing well. Dontavian Wicks last week wasn't great for him, but he's firing him up again.
Wicks. That's what we hope he's going to be. I'm right there on the Wicks train. I have him in Dynasty. I can't hold on to him in redraft right now because it just isn't showing. He's got bricks for hands. Dontavian bricks for hands right now.
Dontavian bricks.
I have faith in the long term for him. This week, I don't know. Hey, maybe. You never know. Any given Sunday, like I was saying. But, I mean, for Nate, it's Nico Collins out, Devonta Smith in. So, maybe that's a seamless transition. Nico Collins was number one wide receiver in the league, though, at least yards-wise, I think. Maybe even points-wise for fantasy. But it's a tough pill to swallow. But it looks like Nate has depth to at least, try to bandage that while he waits for Nico to get his hammy right.
Yeah, waiting for Nico. He's also got Addison on bye, Kyron Williams on bye, his standby Minnesota defense on bye, picking up Dalton Schultz. So maybe who knows if he gets a start over Jake Ferguson.
Flex him over Wicks.
Yeah, good flex him over Wicks as well. But a projected win for Nate. I'm sure everyone in the league expects as much as well. But there have been surprises before, and there can be again. So we'll see if Mike has it in him. Let's move on to your matchup versus Lehman. Talk about something that would also need to be a pretty big surprise. It would be the Toaster Bats taking down the undefeated Decepticons in week 6 here. But Lehman has a talent for dragging you down to his level. Everyone that plays against Lehman tends to just not have a high-scoring week for one reason or another. And I'm hoping that's the case for the Decepticons. Let's go, Lehman. Work your magic.
These weeks. It's going to happen one of these weeks. Is it going to be the week where the Ravens play the Commanders in what is always an offensive shootout? No, I mean, Lamar Jackson isn't going to do the shootout thing. He's just going to do the run-out thing. But I think Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry have their way with the Commanders' defense. I'm pretty sure I have plus matchups across the board. I have a couple of Lions going as well, Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're going up against Dallas in a dome. hoping for the good goods there. Deontay Johnson, it's just a spot start if Malik Neighbors can't get healthy, can't get right. I don't. Who's the Giants play this week? It's not anyone great. But hey, I mean, we're riding, we're cruising. Toaster Bass could have a big CD Lamb week, could have a big JSN week again. Chase Brown can blow up. I'm talking about Dallas for my Lions being good. He's got Demo on the other side. I got to adjust my guy and put Gibbs up top, I guess, if that's where David Montgomery is hanging out. I don't know. It could be good. Josh Allen could just drop 45 when he dropped 7 last week or whatever. So it's the Jets. I really feel like he shouldn't be able to, but, fantasy football's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I had to guess, right? And I know Lehman has a way of luring people into noodle fights, but I would guess that Lehman actually overproduces here, and it becomes like a close matchup where we're both scoring above the median. Just because I have too much faith in these matchups specifically this week. My down week's coming at some point, but I don't think it's this week. But that's when they get you. So who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. If it was that easy to predict, they wouldn't play the games, right? But it is the Bengals versus the Giants, like we were talking about in the last matchup there. So yeah, we'll see if the Bengals they seem like they have a beatable defense as well. If that ends up being good,
Lamar
for
just
you.
threw on them.
Yeah, right.
For 41 points.
Yeah, so there you go there. JSN getting the start on tonight's game, the Seahawks versus the 49ers. And we'll see if that is a strong start for the week for Lehman. But the underdog in this one, we'll see if he has what it takes to pull it out, or if you will continue your unbeaten run here. Let's move on to Bill Cosby sleepers versus the up downs. That's Dylan versus Artie. Artie's still running Justin Fields for now. Doesn't feel the need to switch because the Steelers also don't feel the need to switch. He's got Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor hopefully coming back off of that injury. They're not on bye, but it's the Tennessee Titans that they're playing against this week. So a defense that has been tough. And we'll see if that ends up continuing to be the case for them there. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor back. So yeah, Trey Sermon probably not going to be nearly as utilized. A.J. Brown coming off of bye versus the Cleveland defense. Something that's been beatable as well. Hoping that he's playing at 100% after taking a couple weeks off here. Also hoping Stephon Diggs comes to New England and just lights it up, especially without Nico Collins. It's just going to be Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell for the main 2 weapons in the pass attack. So if you're a Diggs owner, you're hoping for big production there. No Kelsey for him this week, so he's just fully relying on Mark Andrews versus the Commanders. Every other year but this one, you'd be like, nice! Like, hell yeah! I got Mark Andrews versus the Commanders this week. I can expect almost 20 points. This week, you're hoping to get 6 out of Mark Andrews. So that feels like crap. But
Chicago defense eats the Jaguars this week. I mean, Trevor Lawrence has looked exploitable, and the Chicago defense has been ironclad. They have great pressure in the front, and they have fantastic secondary as well. I think that,
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about for Christian Kirk?
Yeah, sorry. I jumped one more down for Christian Kirk.
What's happening? I don't see the Chicago defense anywhere.
No, I'm thinking about matchups here. I'd be spooked to put any Jaguars out there, except for maybe Brian Thomas, because I think his floor is fairly safe enough to shoot for his upside. But I would not feel great rolling Christian Kirk out this week, or any Jag really, because the Chicago defense is for real. I think it was Jonathan Taylor up against the Tennessee defense. That's also real tough. That's why I dropped Trey Sermon. I think Jonathan Taylor comes back, and even if he doesn't, they're up against Tennessee. And if you guys saw that fucking 450-pound man get horizontal on a running back the other week. It was nuts. Maybe he's 350, but he paced with the running back. I can't remember who it was, but he met him at the line. 13 yards away from where the ball was snapped. It was nuts. And after seeing that, I've decided Tennessee is not who we're running against this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a week. This is another pretty impactful matchup. Either the Downs are going to stay up, or the Cosbys are going to say, "Hey, we've had a couple of bad beats, but we're not going to let it define us this year. We're here for a win against a down opponent."
That is for sure. Yeah, and then we got the up downs on the other side here. Baker Mayfield looking to continue that hot performance. Tyjae Spears going in with Tracy here, also getting the start for the Giants. He's just getting anything he can in the running back position, hoping that those guys produce for him and that his stars can shine elsewhere. Hoping to get more out of Brandon Ayuk tonight. And he's hoping to get another big performance out of Garrett Wilson on Monday night. So a bunch of prime time for him. Thursday, Monday, Sunday morning in London, Monday night, Sunday night. Ton of prime time for Dylan. So he's gonna be watching those island games, hopefully for him, with glee here. And then he picked up Caden Ellis to go against those Panthers, who in the past have been exploitable. So
a new name for me. I haven't heard tale of Caden Ellis before, so
he's been pretty good.
See what he puts out.
Yeah, but we'll see if he continues to be good for the up and downs there. Artie has the worst record, but has scored more points this year and is favored to win. We'll see if he manages to do so and change his fate so far here. Let's move on from that one. Just the one last matchup here. It's the 69ers versus the Land Manatees. So far, it's projected to be a close matchup, but neither of them have their defenses in yet. I don't know how that happened, because the Denver defense is most likely going to start for the Land Manatees unless he's really afraid of that Chargers matchup here. It's the same defense he had last week, so I don't know how it made it out of his lineup. But he's got a lot of those Niners still going here. The Niners stack tonight for him. Big important game for him here. Brock Purdy, Jordan Mason, Deebo Samuel. Hoping for a lot out of those guys. Who's his second quarterback? Jalen Hurts. I think I saw him say something during the week that he wasn't super high on the Niners stack after the performance they gave him this last week, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him put Jalen Hurts back in over Brock Purdy. But he's only got a little bit of time left to make that change, so we'll see if he does before tonight's game.
Seattle's defense is beatable with the new head coach there. Doesn't seem to be as defensive minded as Pete Carroll was for all those years. But yeah, there's a lot of orange cues going on the Manatee side, and I think it's a lot of veterans getting a day off. I don't know why they all get days off on Wednesdays now, but it's wait, was I seeing something? I guess there's only two of them. Were you looking at his bench with the cues before?
He's got a bunch on his bench.
There it is. There it is. I guess I was seeing stuff earlier. Yeah, I mean, it's maybe he took his defense out because he saw that Alex didn't have his and wanted you to be able to make the right projections here.
Evaluate fairly.
Yeah, helping you out. Or maybe he's just dumbass. We can't be sure. Love you, Riley. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the Manatees either keeping the 69ers at bay, keeping them down with the rest of the Rat Pack down there, and staying nice and shiny and clean up in second, third place, or it's going to be the beginning of the fall. It's going to be a matchup to watch.
Yeah, Alex definitely looking to claw his way back into pole position here, or at least playoff contention. He's looking at Jaden Daniels going against the Ravens, Bijan Robinson in an exploitable matchup. Olave, he's hoping that to finally actually turn it around. and Tucker Kraft to do more of the same that he did last week here. This is definitely, it's a winnable match for Alex. Like we said, these projections are very close, so yeah, it will be a telling week for sure for the both of these guys here. But that about does it for all of our matchups. We got a lot of tight football action to get to here. So I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the game tonight and also to see a lot of the guys this weekend. Before I play us out, Ricky, you got anything else you want to add in?
Congratulations to the two grooms getting married this weekend. Again, give a big shout out there, and go Sorcerers, go Decepticons, whatever you want to say. We up, and let's stay up.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. Thanks again for coming and listening. Love you all, and thanks for supporting us. We're looking forward to this week, and I'll see you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the DFL Breakdown. Tune in next week for more.